Hey folks, welcome to the 8th devlog for my game, codenamed Big Chungus. We've got a lot to talk about this week. Let's dive right in. First thing you might notice is water tiles are now transparent, so they have the illusion of depth to them. You can see the edges of the tiles are visible through the water. I think it looks a lot better. It might be a little dark, but otherwise it's looking great. The other difference that you will notice right off the bat is we have isometric style lighting instead of circular. We had a lot of complaints, not really complaints, but suggestions to switch this up to an ellipse more so than a circle, and it does actually look a lot better. There are still a few tweaks to be made to the lighting. I've been suggested to change it to a inverse square where the lighting will change depending on the inverse square law rather than a linear gradient. Another change that's been made is to the trees. I've added a couple variations with vines growing on them to just add a little bit more variety. The tree tops are still probably not the best and will probably be changed at some point. We're still working on that. I'm not the best at pixel art, but the other thing that's changed with trees is now when you chop them down, a little trunk that matches the tree trunk will spawn where it was, and just makes chopping down trees that much more interactive and interesting. The next big change that's occurred is the ability for players to rotate the objects that they try and place into the world. So previously, objects only faced one direction and they were kind of locked to that angle. Now you can press the R key and rotate the entity. Right now it only flips the image, so you can only really have it choose one of two directions, but I think that having the option for two directions is a lot better. You also notice that there was a ghost image that was shown where you were going to place the item. That also is new. It adds just that much more, makes placing the items that much better and easier. Another big change that's been added to the game is the ability to actually edit the tiles that are in the world. As you can see, we have a couple different tile types already created. We're more to come. You can also rotate the tiles to make little patterns. Just adds that much more interesting things that you can do in the world. The only limitation right now is that you can't adjust the height of the tile, which we will eventually change. We're going to fix that. But for now, the ability to edit tiles is in the game, and that is fantastic. The player can create tiles at a crafting station called the Tile Press. And what this does is it just serves as the singular crafting station that will create tiles that you can place into the world. So currently you have a couple different tile types and you just craft them as if they're any other entity in your inventory. Additionally, I've created another workbench that is used to craft potions. It's called the Alchemy workbench, and I think it is turning out quite nicely. I like the colors on it. The Alchemy workbench is your single point for creating potions. I might change up some of the recipes for the potions, make them so that you have to craft a bottle before you craft the potion, and to do that you would obviously shovel up some sand and produce glass in the furnace like I've shown before. Still getting to that point, but I think the separation of the various crafting stations is essential in making the game a little bit more filling and making the base building a little bit more interesting. Other minor changes include the correction of some of these gloves and shoulder pads in your inventory. The images are now flipped correctly so that they kind of match what it's supposed to look like. Previously they weren't flipped, so they looked all wrong, but minor corrections like that make the game just that much more polished. That's it for this week, and I hope that you've enjoyed the changes. Feel free to leave comments and questions. Feel free to follow me on Twitter or like and subscribe this video. It really does help. It encourages me to keep creating. Anyways, have a good week.